Good morning, Matt here, Solvent. Welcome to Restart Saturday at 9. I've just worked out what the play intros for and why these people have intros at the start of the videos. It's because there's a gap between go live and being live. That awkward pause. I need to work on that for next time. Anyhow, we're here. It's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. Welcome to Solvent. Today's going to be all about the free trial. For the last couple of weeks, we've shared about the always free plan, which is very important to me. It's recovery based. It's always free. No padlocks, no limits. That's great. But Solvent does so much more than that. And today I want to apply this to, I want to show you how I use Solvent in my business, because it's a business tool as well as a personal tool. The idea of Solvent is we're looking to create a moment in time that brings about awareness. And that gives us the opportunity to change. This is not a magic, it's not a magic solution. It's kind of like there's work to do. Solvent is not something that, we take away the automation, make it manual in order to be able to create this moment in time. Because if we can see things for as they are in the moment, that's where the power to change comes in from. So whatever it is, Restart Saturday at 9. It's about creating a moment in time. 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I get to check in, review the week, find out what's going on, how am I doing. Using Solvent is the daily discipline that allows me to be able to keep track of that through the week and make sure that when I get to my target at the end of the week and I check what's going on, the daily discipline has helped me to be able to achieve my goals. And it's in those moments that we create through the app, through the week on a daily basis. That's where the opportunity for change is. So this is not a set and forget system. It's not something that you can, it's not going to suddenly solve all of your problems. What it's going to do is it's going to be able to show you your problems exactly as they are. The money doesn't change. The cash flow doesn't change. The thing that changes is the awareness of the situation. And it's the awareness that brings about choice. Shame and guilt doesn't bring about choice. If I'm not looking at this stuff, it tends to be because I'm trying to bury it down, get away from it because noise is too much. I have no power in that moment. I can't change anything. I don't know what to change. I don't know what to do differently because I'm just pushing it away. So I bring it into awareness. I can see it for what it is. In that moment, I'm then free to make a decision based upon what that is. So last couple of weeks, we've talked about the always free plan. Now, like I say, that's there. If money is your problem and you're trying to get out of a hole, then the always free plan is for you. We want you focused on the money problem. And because of that, there's no padlocks, there's no resource limits. You're going to get everything that you want to do. But at Solvent, we meet you where you are. Not everybody is trying to get themselves out of a financial hole. I'm not trying to get out of a hole anymore. I'm trying to expand and grow my business. And Solvent is one of the tools in my business that allows me to do that. I use it in my business every day, and I use it for many different things because, like I say, it's about creating a moment in time. When I'm Solvent, I tend to be aware. I'm focused on what it is that I'm doing, whether that's clients, whether that's projects, whether it's tax, whatever it is. I need to be focused, and that's what I use the tool for today. So today I'm going to show you those different things. I'll show you how I use it in my business and the things that it can and can't do. So for those that are just first time watching, why Restart Saturday at 9? Restart Saturday at 9 materialized 20 years ago when I was back in the UK. And somebody had once said to me, Restart Saturday at 9. At the time, I was living in mass paranoia. And I always thought that Restart Saturday at 9 meant 9 o'clock on Saturday night, everything was going to suddenly stop. There was some magic reset button and I was going to forget everything and it was going to be just this magic restart. And I thought it was this like a elixir thing, and it was but it was all about destruction, everything goes away. And as it turns out, the day that I left the UK, I was running away. I was in a mess. I was running to New Zealand. And the day that I had my flight booked, I'd come to on the couch. The bags had been packed the day before. I picked up my bags. I put the key on the table. I walked out the door. I looked at my watch and it was 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And in that moment, everything about Restart Saturday at 9 stopped being about destruction and endings and started to become about creation and beginnings. And that's what this is, you know, it's that moment in time, Saturday at 9 o'clock, where I get to reassess, you know, no judgment, no shame, no guilt, no remorse, just awareness. You know, this is where we are. What am I going to do about it? What do I want to do for next week? And then I can start to do my planning. I can start to manage stuff, and I'm going to show you all of that. Yeah. The reason that I built this product is I built it because I needed it. You know, I tried every budget until things weren't right for me. The way that I work was no good. Everybody wanted to automate everything, which is great. But the thing is it puts everything in the background. You know, I use Xero, and Xero has got a, you know, it integrates with my bank account, and then it's got the reconciliation, and there's a nice little button in the middle that says okay. And I just go, okay, 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 okay. Now, the trouble with that is, how do I know what I'm actually doing? Do I read do I read it? You know, the reconcile, what am I reconciling here? Is that actually linked to that? It might be, it might not be. I don't know, because I've got an easy way out. I've got this button that I can push that just makes it go away. And if I make it go away, then I can pretend that it's not there. And everything just ticks over and I assume everything's good. But what if it's not? You know, what if, you know, what if there's a way that I pay too much GST because I just click this button because I'm not aware of where I'm reconciling things to, you know? And that's the trap that my brain will fall into. If there's an easier, softer way, if I can make it go away so it's not in my conscious mind, then I think that it's not a problem. And the truth is, maybe it is. Maybe it is a problem. So there's a Xero integration in Solvent. It's not finished yet because I'm still working on it. And I'm going to get rid of that, a bit of that thing where I need to get rid of that, where I can click that button, you know, because what I want to do is I want to be able to reconcile this in Solvent. I'm in there every day. I check my numbers. If I reconcile that, then Solvent will post to Xero and reconcile that for me. So there'll be no more pressing that OK button for me. I know that everything that is being reconciled in the right way. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking to do. Solvent's got to make life easy. You know, I'm not saying that everything's got to be a massive chore. This is like 5 minutes a day. You know, there's my transaction. This went out the account. What category is it going into? Right. That category links to a tax code. So once I've reconciled that in Solvent, press the button, then it's only right that Xero should be updated based upon that tax code. You know, so it's about simplicity. You know, the import system. You know, we want to be able to get information into Solvent quickly, you know, so that we can look back to learn. So the import, that's what it's about, you know, import the data once for each account. You can look back to learn. You can run your spending analysis. You've got all your transactions there. You can do your filtering. Everything's in there instantly to be able to look back and learn. But going forward, we need to enter the transactions manually one day at a time. And that means we never need to run another import again. That's the idea. Tools to make it simple, but the manual moment, the moment that we create, that moment where that transaction went out of that account, I spent this much time on that project, you know, that type of stuff. That's where the change happens for me, you know, and I believe it can make a difference for other people as well. So, you know, built Solvent, you know, it came about accidentally. My son needed a timer. He was struggling. He was a temp worker in New Zealand. And at the end of every week, the pay lady was chasing him and going, "Where's your timesheet?" You know, he was struggling to keep it going every day. We worked out he needed a simple app, you know, stop, start, enter comment. At the end of the week, generate timesheet. I built this app for him. He started using it. I thought, wouldn't that be great if I could use something like that and link it to clients and projects? You know? And if I did that, then I'd be able to create a moment in time where I know how much time I've spent on that project. This is what I'm going to show you today. That was the initial spark of Solvent being created. I thought, if I'm tracking my time, I need to track my numbers. If I'm tracking my numbers, I need to track my projects. If I'm tracking projects, you know, and it all built out from there. So if there's a feature that I need in my business, I add it to Solvent. It's still in active development. I'm happy to work with anybody that wants to, that that needs additional features and things like that, we've got a feature request, you know, bring it on, bring it in, let's make this better, let's make this do everything that it needs to do, because the system needs to fit our lives. We don't need to fit our lives to the system. It's got to be simple, it's got to be quick, you know, it's got to be effective, because otherwise I'll get bored and I won't do it. You know, the reason that Solvent came about was because I couldn't manage my finances across 3 accounts and spreadsheets. I had a different spreadsheet for each account, and it all tracked slightly differently because it was related to different things. And it got so tedious to go in and track all this stuff. It just didn't work for me. You know, I got bored. I'd start off well, you know, maybe a week. And then after a week, it's, you know, do I really need to? And I'll do it twice the next week. And then I do it once a week after, and then that's it. I'd forget about that. I'll do it later. You know, Solvent's not like that. Solvent, I'm logging in every morning, pop in, check my accounts. Is everything in sync? It takes me 3 minutes a day. Does that number match the number that's in the bank? If it does, my job's done. If it doesn't, I add the transactions one at a time. That's what that was. Put it into a category. That's where the tax code will come in. I'm going to link that tax code back to 0. So when I click save, that'll post to 0. That item is now reconciled in my 0. It's reconciled in my Solvent. That account matches that account, which also matches 0. That's the direction that we're heading in. It's, complete awareness, complete transparency, all throughout the business and the personal, all from one dashboard. Okay. So I'm going to just dive into it, I think. Rather than filling up time, let's just be quick. So Solvent, get solvent.online. Right, you come here, think about money consciously, you never feel on top of it. This is the page. We come down here. What's brought us here today? We've got different blocks. This is going to help us to be able to, it's ultimately going to link to onboarding tutorials. They're the next thing that are going on, okay? How to get the most out of the system for each of these problems, but I'm going to show you today. So we're going to go, I'm self-employed. Okay, we're going to pick the 30-day full access trial. The always free plan has no padlocks, it has no restrictions. What you see is what you get, but it's focused on money. We're going to meet you where you are. If your problem is money, you need to focus on money. You need to get out your hole, and then when you get past that, then you move up and you expand the product, which can then open up different things. But when money is the problem, then you need to focus. So you take always free if money is your problem. If you're in business and you're looking to use the additional features of the tool, which are paid for, then you take the 30-day full access to trial. Okay, so we're going to open an account. Oops. I need to slow down and breathe. I'm going to create an ongoing account. We're going to use this account as the restart account every Saturday. I'm going to keep it up to date, enter the transactions every day, so that this becomes the dynamic retail account. Over the next 4 weeks, you will see what happens through the system. Yeah, you'll see what the trial looks like. Okay, so we're going to go through a small onboarding. We want to, let's separate personal and business. Okay, it varies. I'm self-employed. I want to use it for both. Okay, so this is telling me what's different about Solvent. The manual thing, we've just been through that. Creating a moment in time, bring about awareness. Okay, we're going to get set up. We're going to add the first account, but before we do that, we're going to meet the AI assistant, Eli, Elevated Life Intelligence. We're not going to cover Eli today, but Eli is the accountability coach. The mobile app is not quite ready. It's in internal testing right now. It's going to become available soon, but this will help Eli to be able to know what to do. I'm just going to skip this for now. But this is so that, you know, it gives Eli a bit of foundational stuff. Right, so let's go to the dashboard. Okay, we're going to get rid of that button. That shouldn't come back. Right, so everything starts with accounts. We did this last week. I don't want to focus on accounts this week. I I will go back to the money side of things next week, and we will do some spending analysis and we'll do some spending plans. The previous live, there's videos online how to set up your accounts and how to do your import. I'll run that through the week, and when I come back next week, we will do some spending analysis and we will do a spending plan and start focusing on that stuff. But today is about the self-employed. This is the free trial. What you'll notice that's different is we're on the personal here. This has opened me up in personal. So I can tell that because if I look here, this is like the free account, but the free account stops here. There's no investments on the free account because they don't want to, if money's your problem, you're not thinking about investing. You're thinking about getting out of a hole, right? Let's remove that distraction from you. We'll meet you where you are. When you're ready for investments, upgrade, there you go. You'll get your investments, right? But what we're going to do in settings, we have business. Okay. It's going to show me what my trial levels are. So that's fine. Let's go there. What's going on here? That should be fine. Save profile. Right, there we go. That's done it. Okay, so what you'll see now is I've unlocked clients, projects, agreements, revenue pipelines, service reports, and invoices. Okay, so it's not just about the finance side of things. We're now talking about the timing side of things, yeah? So the timer for the personal and the free account is that generate timesheet that I built for Leon. This timer for the freelancer pack and above and the SME, this is for clients and projects. Yeah. So what project am I working on? What's the task that I'm doing? Start my timer. Yeah. But so obviously before we do that, we need a project. Before we have a project, we need to have a client. So let's look at that. All right. So clients. Now clients in Solvent is it's very basic CRUD. So what I'm doing is Solvent's not trying to be everything. We integrate where we need to and pass information between systems, right? So I use ActiveCampaign for my client management and my client communications. I use Xero for my accounting. So in here, all I need is some basic client information. Just give me a client. Okay, so this is the webinar customer. Okay, what's their email address? Because then that allows me to be able to link it to the client in ActiveCampaign. Okay, I'm a part of ActiveCampaign. If you want that, you will see in a second. Get Solvent online. Yeah, that'll do for now. And then, do I have a default hourly rate for them? Yeah, $150 is fine. Okay, so we add the client. Now we've got a client. I'll show you here. Trust Tech, that's my business. You can book a consultation, we can go through and I can show you how we use that. But that's ultimately how to add a client. Very simple. We need to get some delete functionality on here. There's going to be a bit more CRUD on here, but right now, create the client. Now I've created a client, I can create a project because a client comes on board, and maybe the client comes on board and we've got something that we've been talking about. There's obviously a reason why they're engaged with the business. Let's create a project. So in projects, okay, we've got no projects. Let's create one. So the project name is the Restart Webinar. Client, I'm going to link it to the webinar customer, and it's a business project. So we're going to create the project. Now, it's a planned. We're going to go into here and now we can add some details to it. So it opens up. We've got an overview of the project. We've got different tasks. We've got milestones. We've got time. We've got cost plan, projections, files, and settings. Okay. So this is so that everything links together. So in our settings, we can make this in progress. Doesn't matter what's the priority. Yeah, it starts today. No end date. Do I have a target end date? No, I want it to keep going. It's $150 an hour. Yeah, that's fine. And then we save those changes. So that now puts my project in. I've got an overview. Okay, so my details come in here, and now I can track where I am in my project. Yeah? Got a series of task lists. Okay, so to do, you can add a thing, have a webinar. Yeah, have to follow up with inquiries. Whatever these things are, yeah, this is just, you know, whatever you're going to do in your project, yeah. And then, well, right now we are having a webinar, so I'll move that across to in progress. So in progress, I now get to have some details. What's going on in here? Due date was today, yeah, and I haven't got any milestones yet. Right, so let's save that. So the milestone is going to be, let's create the first milestone, and this is going to be the purchase the StreamYard license. Yeah, so right now this is not very solvent, but due date, let's say end of the month, right? So Solvent restart Saturday at 9 was on a, you know, it's been on a trial. Now the fact that it's on a trial, I'm on Streamline, it was a proof of concept. The thing was I didn't know whether I was going to stick to it. Is this going to work out? Because I'm undisciplined. Like I say, I find it very difficult to focus on things. But this seems to be set into my routine now. Now I've proved that I've done this 4 weeks on the trot, 3 weeks on the trot with a week off. That means that I can set that in. So I need to purchase a StreamYard license. Yeah. So once I've purchased a StreamYard license, then that link goes away and I'll get more options in this webinar. I can start and stream to more places. I can see comments on here, which I can't do at the moment, and things like that. Yeah. But now I've got a milestone. What I can do in here is I can link that milestone. I can link the milestone to, yeah. So I have a webinar and that links to that milestone. Yeah. So now I know what I'm working towards. Yeah. So then when I'm checking in my after the webinar, I'll go and put that in there, and it will come up on my sheet. Yeah. So I can also set a timer. You know, so all of my time entries, when I set my timer, we'll get to the timers in a minute. They will start and come on here, and I can track my progress through my project, my cost plan. You know, this is an SME feature. Okay, so if you want to track costs, you know, I'm going to have a material. It's going to be a StreamYard license, and it's going to be $100 a month or whatever it is. Yeah, StreamYard. Yeah, and its projected amount. I'm going to put $100 a month on there. When the actual comes in, I can do that. Once I create the transaction for it, I can link my transaction here. And we're going to put that on there. Yes, it's going to be a recurring cost. It's going to be an ongoing cost. Okay, so it's going to be no end date. Right. So that goes in there. So now we end up with our cost plan in here. This is going to allow us to be able to track. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm just showing you the basic functionality now. We're going to add data to this through the week, and over the series, then this trial account will get information to it. You'll start to see all of this grow out and how it works. Yeah, so we've got our projections. Okay, what's going on? Different breakdowns. Okay, no target end date set, showing 12-month projection. Okay, so that's what we're projecting that we're going to be able to do. Projected profit, projected costs, because this cost plan has taken the cost plan for, this is the StreamYard license, showing me over 12 months. This is what the projected costs are going to be. So then my revenue will come as we're doing the invoicing from the timesheet. Okay. Files. This is a pro feature. Any documentation, anything that needs to be saved, you know, agreements, and we'll get to agreements in a minute. You know, they'll be saved in the system, but maybe you've got something on here that you want a PDF, you want to keep all of your information, images, videos, whatever it may be, you can keep them in here. They're always linked to the project. So then if you need to go back, you know, if I ever need to know anything about Restart Saturday at 9, I come to my project. This is where all my files are. Everything's in one place. Okay, and we did the simplicity. So that's projects. Yeah, like I say, over time, we'll see that flesh out. But right now, I just want to give you an overview of the different tools that we're using. So we talked about the timesheet. So let's get a timer going because we need one. So our project is the Restart webinar. What are you doing having the webinar? And then let's start the timer. Okay, if we remember, we'll come back to this later. And if we remember, yeah, so my timer's going. I can pop this out here. If you're on Chrome, that works better. Whoops, you can't see that there, but let me pop that there. You get this little private window. Chrome, it'll say in the top corner. Firefox, I'm using Firefox right now. It hovers, yeah. So you can see your timer running there, and then you can, let me just go back. So now we'll go into, we've done timer, right, time blocks, right. Like I say, we're creating a moment in time. Saturday morning, I check in. What do I want to do next week? Where's my focus going to be? That's what my time blocks are for. So I can add stuff into here, whatever it may be. Is it a repeating block? Well, let's do that. Yeah, webinar, an hour, date, Saturday, repeat this block. Yeah, weekly, custom, weekly. Yeah, that's fine. Start time, 9 a.m. Category, it's business development, I suppose. It's that project. Away we go. We had the recurring block. Okay. Now I've got my webinar on every week. Pop, that goes on there. Right. So then you put your time blocks on there. You can manage them. You can now link your time blocks. If you've got any weekly notes that you don't want to be on the time blocks, but you want reminders. So this is a reminder, you know, I kind of like things that I've got to do that I know are coming up. I had to take my, I had to book my car in for a warrant the other day. So I popped a note in here. I didn't put it on the time blocks, but I knew I had to make the phone call. So it just goes on here. Yeah, this is a call reminder. And then call warrant of fitness. Save the note. That goes on there, and now I can see, and I know that it's coming up. So if something comes up that I haven't booked in a time for, I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I know it needs to be done that week. I just add a note. I can go forward and do that. It's always there. I find that very useful. So this is how I'm going to manage my time. I can also integrate with Google Calendar. I'm going to do Outlook shortly. That's on the roadmap. But right now, you know, we've got monthly notes, the calendar, any appointments that come on here. The way that I do that, I go into settings. I'm going into settings. I'm going integrations, and I'm going connect Google Calendar. And I connect through there, sync up, and that will put the calendars will go on here. And they also go on my time blocks as well. They'll go on my time blocks as a blue background, and it's uneditable. If I want to edit it, I've got to do it in the calendar. So that shows, that's just the different things. These two features are also available on the free plan. You know, the time is different, but you do get a timer and you get the time blocks. Okay, you don't get clients and projects on the always free plan. Right. So now we've done a bit about time. We've done clients. We've done projects. Let's look at agreements. Because the client's called up, we've agreed a project, we've mapped out the project, we know roughly what it's going to be, we've got some numbers around it, so now we want to get an agreement in place. All right, so we get the agreement. So these are my active agreements. What's coming on? Where is everything? Add the agreement. I'm going to select my client. It's going to be the webinar client. I haven't got a template saved, but the agreement name, This is the, it doesn't matter. I'm just typing stuff in. You know what your situation is here. You know what's going in here. What type of agreement is it? It's a recurring agreement. Whatever that may be. Retainer, ad hoc, blah blah. Yeah, New Zealand dollars. Monthly value is going to be 79 New Zealand dollars. So what else? How overage rate? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Primary contact. That's going to be me. Date start. It started today, didn't it? Yeah. End date. We don't have one. Billing frequency, weekly. Payment terms, whatever they need to be. Do we want to link it to a project? Yes. So now I've got an agreement. That can go in there. Yeah. So these are the different agreements that we've got with different customers. I imagine at some stage we're going to need to get, I've built this from scratch. I imagine at some stage we're going to need to get an import in that. If that's something that you want, shout up. We'll do an import so that we can import into agreements. Yeah. We've got a revenue pipeline. This is going to show us all the revenue that's coming in, what's coming in through the business. Nice snapshot. And we've got service reports. Okay. So service reports are based upon the time blocks. So this isn't going to work because let me stop this timer. It's not going to work. Yeah, let me stop this timer. Okay, so stop that. Yeah. Right, this is going to put my time entry here. So now I have a time entry. What happens on service agreements when we create a new report? It's going to go through. We're choosing, this is the agreement that we've got. We've only got one. Yeah, this is the month that I want to create the agreement for. You'll see why that's important, because at the next phase, what happens is my agreement is now active, and I can track this. Yeah, if I come into the agreement, go next. Yeah, that's what we're going to create. Any notes? I don't want any notes right now. But create my report. What's going on there? This is going to be an encryption thing. All right. Okay. I know where that came from. I got that last week. I didn't realize it affected there too. Right. So that creates a report. In the report, it reads in all of my timesheets, and I can choose what I want to invoice for, what needs to go through. Same thing with the invoices. I can create a new invoice, and I can link it directly to the timesheets. Let's see if this one works. Let's see if you can get the idea. If I want to add a manual item, I don't want to add a manual item. Go back a minute. What happened there? So I say I've got my timesheet on here, so I can go through. This will read them all in, and you choose what you want to create the invoice for. Next, do we have any line items? And then we can go there. Does it link to an agreement? And now I can create my invoice. This probably won't work either, but it's good to know if it is. Yes. Okay, so I've got to fix that bug. I'll do that after the show. I love making an idiot of myself on YouTube. It's becoming a weekly habit. Okay, so the system does work. That will be working. So that's invoices. The point of all this lot is you can see how invoices and service reports can link to the timer entries. Yeah, so we want to choose the timer entries. This has made a massive difference for me working with a client. We've been working together for a long time, and we had so much that was half finished. It hadn't quite been done, and it's kind of like, well, where has all the time gone? This allows me to be able to be very transparent with what's going on in the business. At the end of every month, I create a new report for him. I check, it reads in my time blocks, and then take what's what, what I want to invoice him for, put that through there. That's where the 15 hours went through, you know, and I use this as service level agreements. I have different ones set up. Some customers are on 40 hours a month, others are only on 15 hours a month. Each individual one is set at a different rate. So all of that can be managed from in here. And that's what I'm doing with the time blocks, the clients, and the project management. So if we go in there, I can now click in progress. This is the webinar. Not yet, hasn't linked through, but what I can do is I can get my tasks, because we haven't completed that. We can put my task in there. That's done. I've done the webinar for this week. I've made an idiot of myself again. Away we go. Technology's let me down, and that's fine, because that's what happens. It's horrible working with technology in a live environment, but there we go. So that's the business functionality of Solvent. Yeah, let me take this off now. We'll stop sharing that. Stop shares up here. Yeah, okay. So that's the business functionality. That's the free trial. On the free trial, everything is unpadlocked. You'll get a little badge, as you saw, showing you what level the unlock is for that particular feature. But there's no padlocks. Yeah, you'll see everything, away it goes. When you get to day 23, so it's not going to be next week, it's going to be the week after. Maybe we might just miss it, but there'll be a banner comes up and shows a week to go, and it'll start and it starts to count you down. At that point, you can make your decision, because at that point, you're either going to downgrade to always free, or you're going to upgrade your account and you're going to get onto the subscription, whichever one the badge says that you need, or you're going to do nothing, and then we're going to delete all your data. So that's what happens through the trial. We'll go through it transparently. I'm going to use this same account. You'll see the same account next week, and that's what we do. So that's Solvent. You know, I'm happy to talk to anybody. If you want to get one-on-one, you know, you can always book a call, and book a call through the website, and happy to jump on one-on-one. Let's walk through it. Let's see what you need. Let's make this system work, and I will fix those 2 little bugs and make sure that my service level report, I fixed my service level reports last week, but something's obviously gone wrong. So that's it. I'm Matt. This was Solvent. Restart Saturday at 9. Thanks for your time. See you again next week.